guys to Gorilla Life X, and I'm excited for this one today. So this is my brand new KTM 300 XCW 2024, and this is my dream bike build. I've been riding for about 14 years now. I spent most of the time, about 10-12 years, riding street, riding on the track with the street bikes, you know, the big boys, the R1s, you know, the CBR 1000s, and I transitioned over to dirt bikes in 2020. And I've never looked back. I love dirt bike. I love the dirt bike scene. I just love the off-road community. And my first bike was a CRF 450R. Now, I gotta say the bike was extremely reliable, so I will not talk bad about it in that sense, ever. The bike never left me stranded. I love that bike. But it's not a trail bike. It is not for the trails. It is not for enduro, and it will beat you up. But I said I would never get a KTM. And here we are. But I made the switch last year. I got a KTM 300XC. And I was blown away. I was blown away simply off the fact of riding a bike that's made to do what you want to do. Which is, you know, enduro, going through mud, you know, going up nasty hill climbs and stuff like that. And I knew I was going to stick with the bike, but I knew I wanted the XCW, and the XCW unfortunately did not come out last year as the new model. It only came in a 300XC. So I didn't do much to that bike, but I did keep it for the year. I used it for the year, and then I traded it in and I got this one, the 300XCW, which is what I wanted from the first place. So I've dipped in a little bit of money into it. A lot of the stuff that I've done to the bike is, I feel, stuff that's necessary, so when you go out on the trail and you have a nasty spill, you're able to pick the bike back up and make it back to your truck. At the end of the day, that's what everybody wants. Nobody wants to have to get towed out. Nobody wants to have to make a huge repair out on the trails, or even make a huge repair when you get back. So a lot of the stuff I've done to this bike is stuff that I feel is necessary. And then there's some cosmetic stuff, such as these plastics, the sticker kit, that I feel is not necessary. So you don't have to do that type of stuff, but I am going to do a build price breakdown at the end of the video on how much everything came to with the plastics and the sticker kit, and also how much everything came to without the stickers or the plastics. Because you guys don't need the stickers or the plastics, but I do recommend a lot of the other stuff that I put on just to get your day going. So I'm gonna bring you guys with me to check out some of the pieces that I put on the bike. Well, not some of the pieces, all of the pieces that I put on the bike. So guys, come with me as we break down this build. So first we're gonna start with the KTM plastics. They were actually KTM original plastics. You can get them at the dealership, or you can get them online on certain websites like Rocky Mountain and AOMC. And the plastic kit itself was $210, which was an all-black plastic kit. Then I bought these graphic kits from SKDA Moto Creative, and the sticker kit itself was $225. And I also bought this lowered seat from KTM Power Sports. I got this from the website AOMC. And the lowered seat is actually supposed to help shorter riders such as myself not have such a hard time getting the leg over this thing. And the lowered seat itself was $167. So now we're going to move down to the rear disc guard, which is this beautiful Bulletproof Designs rear disc guard. And I like this design, and the reason why I chose this design over other rear disc guards is because it does come for the option to put a rear caliper guard as well. Other rear disc guards do not have that option. So the rear disc guard itself was $139, and the caliper guard itself was $69. As you can see here, I actually grazed a very hard rock, and who knows if maybe that would have been the caliper itself, maybe it would have did damage to the caliper. So as you can see, it's already, you know, it's already doing good work. So now we're going to move on to the swing arm guard. It doesn't come with these stickers. It's the Cherrybees magnet guard, and the way it works is actually pretty simple design. You get it in back here, push it in, you have a strap right here that you pull it and it kind of holds it together, and then here you have a magnet. So it's supposed to be for easy cleaning. You're able to pull this off and then just pull it out like that and push it down, and then you're actually able to clean your swing arm and get any debris out of there and then pop it right back on. So that's the Cherrybees magnet. That came out to be 60 bucks for both sides, obviously. So now we have the Motion Pro coolant tank. This is completely optional. This is just basically so when your bike overheats, it doesn't throw the coolant on the floor. It throws it into this little tank. You have a return line back up to the radiator, back up in there. You have a return line, and it'll drop it inside the coolant tank and then pick it back up whenever it needs it again. I add this to every single bike I own because I've had bikes like my Honda overheat on the trail, and it threw out like 50% of the coolant on the floor, and I was afraid that the bike was going to overheat and I was going to damage the engine. So ever since then, I always put this on, but it's optional, especially if you have a fan. The coolant tank, it was only $22.50. The hardest part about the coolant tank is just finding a place to mount it. That's the hardest part. Next, we have this beautiful piece by P3 Carbon, and it's a max coverage pipe guard. So as you can see, it goes all the way back here and goes all the way to the front. Gets a really, really, really good coverage on your pipe. And as you can see, it's already done the job right here. I dropped the bike going up a hill. The bike went up in the air. I was going up a very nasty section. Bike went up in the air. It landed right on a rock. As you can see, it was a hard hit. And the pipe is solid. I haven't taken the pipe off, but I don't think it dented anything because this pipe guard is solid. Now, the only thing I can say with these carbon fiber pipe guards is that when they do get scratched and they do get beat up, they look ugly eventually. And then you're riding around with a very ugly pipe guard. And the pipe guard still works, it just looks ugly. It's not appealing. But it does the job, so I mean, I guess that's what you want. The one bad thing I can say about the carbon fiber pipe guards is that they're very expensive. So this one was $195. So that's pretty expensive for a pipe guard. And there's steel ones out there that you can get for $50, $60, $100. They just don't fit as well. They don't come fitting as well. You got to kind of manipulate it to kind of get it to fit there. But that might be a better, cheaper option for you guys. So next we have this Trailtech Fan kit. And this is actually for a 2016 to a 2022. But, you know, don't go crazy looking for one for this bike. They actually don't have any for this bike yet. So you can get one of these and it actually fits. It's not a big deal. You just run the wires under here and you run them up to your battery, which is like right under here. And the wires are long enough. They're more than what you need actually. I like this fan kit because it actually tells you the temperature. You can actually set it to when you want the fan to kick on, as opposed to the KTM original fan that you can get from KTM Power Parts. That one just comes on whenever it wants to or whenever it tells it to. But yeah, this fan kit has always been great. It's always been reliable. I actually had it on my Honda. I had it on my other KTM, the 300XC, and I had it on this one. They are a little pricey. They come in at around $198. Now this one right here is one of the best bang for buck that I feel that you can buy. And it's the Cherrybees ignition and clutch cover. You see it right there. And the reason why I feel it's such a good bang for your buck is that you come with both sides. And if you look at it, it doesn't only cover the clutch, it also covers your water pump. It covers like the side engine casing right here in case you hit it. It comes even all the way down to here. So you get a lot of coverage. A lot of coverage in something that it's supposed to only really protect this. So that's why I feel like it's such a bang for your buck. And it only costs $56. And I'm gonna move over to the other side so you can see how much the other side covers as well. I always get this anytime I get a bike. So here we have the ignition cover. And as you can see, it doesn't only cover the ignition, it covers all the way up to here. It covers your clutch master cylinder right here, which is very important to cover this because that's your clutch master cylinder. If you break that, it starts leaking, then you have no clutch. It covers all the way down here, as you can see. And it even covers over here. You have these wires that hang out that come out from the ignition. And they're kind of a little bit like out in the open. And they decided to put it to cover that as well, which I thought was such a great idea. I have this protector here, so I kind of had to cut it a little bit to make it fit, but still nonetheless, at least it's getting protected. So that's why I say it's such a great bang for your buck, because it covers so many things, protects so many things on the side of the engine, and it's only 56 bucks, to where I've seen other competitors basically only cover just the one thing, and you know, they're charging 50 bucks for just one side. So Cherrybees did a great job with this one. They always do. So next we have these Endural Engineering full wraparound handguards. I believe they're called the Evolution model. And these are full wraparounds. You get your hand in there, they protect your levers. You know, you could bang into trees. You could drop the bike on the floor and not worry about your levers or anything over here breaking, or your throttle housing. I love full wraparound handguards. I know some guys, they say they don't like them because breaking wrist and etc. I haven't had a bad experience with it, you know, knock on wood. But I love full wraparounds. These were actually $92. That's kind of how they look. So here we have actually fork shoe protectors. So these new bikes, they come with clickers under here that can adjust your suspension. And I don't really mess around too much with that, but if there is a day that I do want to adjust the suspension on my own and not have it taken to a place and kind of study on it, this is actually protects the bottom. So when you're going over rocks and, you know, banging into stuff, you don't break that clicker or break, you know, the suspension under or cause some catastrophic damage. It's actually very sturdy. If you look here, it's very sturdy and it sticks out about an inch. So it's gonna hit, whatever hits is gonna bounce off of it. I have it on both sides. Let's move over here. Have it over here too. And this side I actually have a front disc protector, and I actually had to kind of trim it. If you look in there, you can see that I kind of trimmed it so it can fit, but trust me, it's still hard as a rock. It's not flexible, and it will protect the fork from the bottom. So that's a fork shoe guard, and this was actually KTM. This was actually KTM Power Parts. So that was actually $32. See, it kind of makes like a little cup. Another little custom thing that I did, if you can see here, it's actually an ignition switch. So I have actually keyed ignition on this bike. You know, these bikes do not come with any type of keyed ignition. And it's actually wired into the bike. So, you know, it gives me a little bit of peace of mind if we ever stop somewhere to get some food or something like that while we're on the trail. I can leave my bike outside without knowing that somebody's going to come and just, you know, turn on the on switch and then just ride off with your bike, you know. At least this will take them a little bit of work. It doesn't stop them from taking the bike in general, but it does stop them from just turning it on and riding away with it. So that's a keyed ignition switch that I put on here. The dealership actually gave it to me, and they charged me $100 to put it on, install it and everything, and they gave it to me when I first bought the bike. So I think I like this. I think this is a must. It gives you a slight little bit of peace of mind when you're gonna leave your bike outside for a few. Wouldn't leave it overnight, but just for a few, you know? So next we have here these bulletproof design radiator guards. These are actually pretty expensive, coming in at $260 for the pair. You can see the other one over there. And I had these on my previous bike, that's why I got them. They're pretty protective. You see they actually protect the corner down here. They stick out a little bit here as well. So if you drop the bike and it lands on the plastic or it lands here, this actually sticks out about 3 inches wider to kind of protect your radiator from taking the hit. And these are $260. They're nice. They come in a whole bunch of colors. This is them on the other side. I feel like it's a must. You don't want to bust that radiator out on the trail. You start leaking all your antifreeze, and that is not one thing that's not one thing you can fix on the trail. You cannot fix that on the trail. So these are $260. So we have a couple goodies on this side as well. We're gonna start with the clutch lever. This is actually a KTM power part. It's a KTM flex lever. So they're supposed to actually flex up and not break in case of an accident. I got these because I had some other levers before, and because of the design of the lever, the clutch was staying kind of engaged always. And that's not good because that's gonna eat your clutch. And I read that a little bit about some other ones, and I didn't want to deal with having an issue, so I just bought these. I kind of didn't want these because they are expensive. They look nice, they look great, but they cost $110, and that's a lot for a clutch lever. But I said I didn't want an issue, so I just went with these. So this is the clutch lever, and I actually got the pair. You buy them separately. So this is the brake lever. This is the brake lever here. And it also flexes forward and everything. And this one is also $110. So the set is basically $220 for both. Come with me, guys. Let's go look at some goodies down here that we got. So we got some goodies down here. So here, now we have an electronic power valve on these bikes. So it's like covered in like a plastic guard, and that's no good. Plastic is no good when you go against rocks, you know. So I got this, I think it's aluminum from Bulletproof Designs as well. They make a lot of great, nice protective parts. And you can see it goes up in there. Goes up in there pretty high. Pretty protective. And this actually was $59. So it's $59 for this power valve cover. And then if you move over here, another one of the companies that they make a lot of protective parts, Endural Engineering. This is actually a throttle body guard. So that's another one that's made out of metal as opposed to plastic, the plastic one that comes with the bike. And this one from Endural Engineering is actually $43. So that's the throttle body guard, and this is the power valve cover, or guard, you know, they're both guards. So this is actually the other side of the a Cherrybees magnet swing arm guard. But if you look down here, I actually have a Bulletproof Designs swing arm tab protector. So if you actually get in a hard enough crash, or maybe you hit a rock, you know, going up something, these two tabs here that holds your chain guide can actually snap off or break off, and then you won't be able to put a chain guide. So you either have to buy a new swing arm, which is probably going to be expensive, and change that whole thing, or you're going to have to get it somehow repaired. So you have this protector here that kind of covers everything. So if you hit it, you just hit this thing, and it kind of transfers the energy to both, so it's not just one, and it protects it. That itself, that was $59 for this swing arm protector right here. I think it's a little pricey, but you know, some things you can't put a price on, like protection. So now lastly, we're gonna move down to the front discard, and this is one that is one of those things that I say that you cannot live without. and it's actually a front disc guard. So I actually had an incident where I whiskey throttled when I was first going out to the trails, and I had a plastic disc guard on there, and the bike went up in the air, smashed into a rock, and when it smashed into a rock on the disc guard did nothing because it was plastic. It was like the plastic just bent in and it bent my disc, and I had no brakes for the rest of the ride. Well, I couldn't keep riding. I actually went back to the truck because, you know, it's hard to have no front brake. Once that rotor bends in there, guys, you have no brake. Like, the brake doesn't work for some reason. I guess it's uneven. And I had to go back to the truck with no front brake. It was probably about 2 miles back, so it wasn't so bad, but it was bad. So I always get a front disc guard. I like this design because it kind of covers the whole disc. This is a Devil disc guard, by the way. Devil. You see the name right there. And it actually covers the whole disc, bottom all the way around, except the back, obviously. And it has the little air slots here for cooling. I like this design because I like the look of it. It looks real, like, kind of like, you know, robotic. I like the look of it, but I also like the fact that it covers the whole entire disc, as opposed to other brands out there that the disc guard only covers the bottom and it just protects impacts at the bottom, to where this will protect against the impact in the front as well. The other disc guards just come like halfway and down here. So that's why I always get this brand. This disc guard, the Devil, is actually $80. And you can find them in some places for 60, 70 bucks, somewhere around there. But it's a very difficult piece to find. I actually bought it from the company Devil themselves. And I didn't even buy the one for this bike specifically. I bought the one for the previous year, and it just happens to fit. So that's a little tidbit that you're going to have to know when you're looking for it. You might have to look for like a 22, 19, or a 21 or something like that. Because the 24s, they supposedly don't have any yet, but these do fit. So this was 80. Let me give you guys some good shots here of the protective pieces I've put on. And I think these pieces, you know, besides the plastic kit and the stickers, I find that they're all very necessary. Because I've had things happen to me on the trails where you're kind of stuck and you have to either get pulled back, or, you know, you're just stuck and you have to call for help. And with these things, I feel like you can actually crash the bike pretty hard. And, you know, hopefully that doesn't happen. But you can crash the bike pretty hard and still make it back to your truck. So there you guys have it. That was everything. So now I'm going to do a little price breakdown of how much everything is with the plastics and the graphics, and how much the necessary stuff is without the plastics and the graphics for you guys. So with the plastics and everything, it comes out to $2286.50. So $2,286.50 with everything, the build complete. So I actually forgot this. I remembered in post-production, but this is a bulletproof design flange guard. And this is actually so if you crash really bad and you bend this pipe, the flange that the pipe goes into doesn't crack. And then, you know, that's a pretty expensive repair, because that's basically like the head of the engine right here where the pipe connects. And so this flange guard was $50. So whatever the total is at the end of the video, add another $50 on top of there. Without the plastics, it actually comes out to $1684.50. So $1,684.50. And that's with everything that I feel is necessary for you to get out on the trail. If you have a rough time, if you had a terrible spill, you can still pick the bike back up and make it on your way home. Maybe the bike is not going to look pretty, but you're going to be able to make it on your way home. And that's one thing I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about, is that when you buy these off-road products, that's one thing they don't tell you, that the products don't come with enough protection on them. And you need these protective pieces because anything can happen. So whenever you buy a dirt bike, side-by-side, four-wheeler, remember to always have an extra $1,000 in money for parts that you're gonna need for protective pieces. You know, sometimes I even like to buy the parts in advance. If I know I'm really set, like dead set on getting a certain bike or getting a certain vehicle, I'll buy the parts in advance, you know, just so I can have it, so I can install it and get on with my ride. I do not like to ride without protection. Once you buy one of these bikes, or a four-wheeler, a quad, or a side-by-side, have a little bit of extra breathing room, a little bit of extra money to get your protective pieces, because you don't want to have a bad day out on the trails and then you end up stranded. If you have a side-by-side, get yourself a winch. You know, get yourself the skid plates under. You know, it's crucial. It's crucial. We go out there and we have a hell of a lot of fun. But when the days are bad, the days are bad. I've seen bad days. And I think that a lot of the stuff that I show you guys here today on the bike, a lot of the protective pieces, I personally feel I don't ride without them. I actually waited until I got everything and put everything together before I did the first ride with the bike. So I had the bike for like 2 months before I even rode it, and I was itching. Like, you don't even know, I was itching to get this, you know, I was itching to ride this bike because I wanted this bike so bad, and I had to wait a year for it. So I'm happy to share this dream bike build with you guys, because you guys kind of now get a chance to kind of bounce your ideas off what I've done to this bike to whatever you want to do with your bike. These pieces, everything that I did to this bike, it is interchangeable with the 300XC model for 23 and 24. So 23 and 24 300XC and 23 and 24 300XCW models can all use these pieces that I put on the bike. Both bikes have the same body. They just have a different engine tuning. They have a different suspension tuning. This has a tail light and a headlight, but the body is pretty much the same. So everything I did to this, you can do to an XC. And you guys can kind of bounce your ideas off this and see what you guys would like to do, you know. You don't have to get everything specifically that I bought. You can get your own flavor, your own colors. You see these radiator guards, they come in different colors. These caliper guards comes in different colors. I choose, you know, what the colors I like. You guys can choose whatever colors you like. But this was definitely a dream of mine to have this bike. After I first got the 300XC last year and I used it, and I was so amazed at how the bike, you know, just how the bike responds in tough terrains. And that's usually where I'm at 96% of the time is tough terrains. I'm usually riding with guys with side-by-sides, and they're always going through tough stuff, you know? So ever since I saw how good the bike was, I wanted the XCW. You know, it comes with the headlight, comes with the tail light, you know, it comes with the PDS shock. That's supposed to be better for rocky terrain. The suspension's a little bit softer. But, you know, that's a video for another day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want you guys to stay tuned to the channel. I have some good videos coming for you guys. Some good comparison videos to help you guys out, whether you're buying this, the XCW, the 300XCW, or if you guys want to buy the 300XC. Some, you know, good things, some bad things about both of them. You know, I also am going to do some comparison videos between these type of bikes and owning a motocross bike, which I did for 3 years. So, you know, I'm glad if you guys are new. I hope you subscribe, and I hope you just enjoy the videos. You know, stay tuned. I'm telling you guys, stay tuned. There's going to be some good videos coming. This is my son's Raptor 110 right here, but my daughter's going to come out with me to the trail since she's a little bit bigger. And, you know, I'm going to come out on the 300, and we're going to make some good trail videos of that, you know. Go to the trail for the first time. That's going to be an experience for the both of us. You know, I have some jet ski content coming. You know, I always have jet ski content. I have motorcycle content. Not really that much cars, but hopefully in the future I can get some car content in here. I like to do everything. You know, motorsports is my passion. Motorsports has always been my passion ever since I was a little kid. All my toys were cars, dirt bikes, motorcycles. That's just what I love. This is what I've always loved, you know. And it's the same thing, just now that I'm bigger and the toys cost a lot more money. So Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching.